Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. April 10th, 2018.
The Kuhner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. Cleaning up your financial bull. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services.
105 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends. It is now a decision that has sent shockwaves across not just Washington, but the entire country. Yesterday, Robert Mueller, in coordination with the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, launched a massive raid on the personal attorney, Michael Cohen, of the President of the United States. The FBI simultaneously raided his house, his office, even his makeshift hotel room in Manhattan. They seized everything. All of his communications between himself, the attorney, and his client, the president, they go back decades. They now have it all. They have seized the emails, tax records, business records, and now they are handing it over to a special FBI agent to comb through every word, every line, every page in the search of possible crimes. Furthermore, they are alleging that the reason, the pretext for this unprecedented raid, violating attorney-client privilege, striking at the very heart of attorney-client privilege and the Fourth Amendment, is because they claim that Michael Cohen engaged in, they say, two alleged crimes. One, bank fraud. Two, a violation of campaign finance reform laws by paying Stormy Daniels $130,000 several weeks before the election to essentially make her go away so she would not publicly talk about her alleged allegation of a one-night stand with the president. Now, a couple of quick points, and then I want to dive back into the blazing phone lines. Number one, the obvious point. This is now so beyond the reasonable scope of Mueller's investigation that, to me, this cries out for Mueller to be fired. Unless they're claiming that the Russians helped pay the money, unless they're claiming Vladimir was cutting the checks, that Putin was cutting the checks, unless they're alleging that, which they're not, then this has nothing to do with Russia, nothing to do with election meddling, nothing to do with collusion, which clearly shows they have nothing on Russia because there was never anything to have on Russia because it never happened. But to me, more importantly, leave for a second Mueller aside, Russia aside, leave everything aside, just objectively. What have we now witnessed in the United States? We've now witnessed a major FBI raid in collusion with an out-of-control special counsel, given approval by the very top, Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, to do what? To seize documents between an attorney and his client, which is almost never done, to go after $130,000 payment to a porn star who, even if you believe her, I don't, but let's just say for the sake of argument, she's telling the truth, okay? Just for the sake of argument. Claimed that she had a consensual sexual relationship one night 12 years ago. Just objectively, think about this. Think about it. They're going after a lawyer, violating his attorney-client privilege, sweeping up all of their documents, all of their confidential privileged communications, to allegedly prosecute what they say was a payment to a porn star about a one-night stand, one night, 12 years ago, which was consensual. By her own admission, it was consensual. So it's not rape, it's not sexual assault. 12 years ago. 12 years ago. For that, they are willing to strike at one of the sacred rights and privileges that we have, as Americans have enjoyed in this country, really going back even before our independence. This goes back, this is at the heart of Anglo-American common law. This is now what they're willing to do. Now, notice, the FBI raided Paul Manafort. They raided his home. The FBI now has gone after Trump's own personal lawyer going back decades, Michael Cohen. Notice, they never raided Hillary Clinton. They never raided her office. They never raided her home. They never raided Huma Abedin's office or her home. In fact, they rigged the investigation into Hillary's emails. We now know that. She deleted 33,000 emails. She then acid washed them with bleach bit. And then she took the cell phones and literally with a hammer smashed the cell phones. She had one of her people who wasn't even her lawyer stay with her as she was being allegedly questioned and interrogated by the FBI. Wink, wink. You can ask this. Wink, wink. Don't ask this. Wink, wink. She was never, ever seriously investigated. In fact, the fix was in. She destroyed evidence. She obstructed justice. She compromised classified national security information. And I'm just talking about the emails now. Never mind Uranium One. Never mind the Clinton Foundation. Never mind using that as a $1 billion slush fund engaging in bribery and influence peddling. Okay? Let all of that go. They haven't raided Hillary Clinton. They haven't raided Andrew McCabe. They haven't raided Huma Abedin. They haven't raided Peter Strzok. They haven't raided the offices and homes of Lisa Page. But Trump's own personal lawyer, you better believe it, baby. Because we're going to nail him on alleged hush money about an affair 12 years ago. Think about that. By the way, these sort of hush agreements in this country, there are hundreds of thousands of them done every day. There's nothing illegal about paying a porn star $130,000. Say, you know what? These allegations are embarrassing to my client. Look, what will it take for you not to take your story to say, I don't know, People Magazine or the National Enquirer? $130,000? Okay, here it is. Adios. See you later. The affair was consensual. It happened 12 freaking years ago. It happened once. She took the hush money. She didn't complain about the hush money until she realized she could make a lot more money. And now you're trying to claim some kind of crime based on this? To such an extent, I just want you to understand what's going on here, that Michael Cohen, and everybody admitted this, was actively cooperating with the FBI and with Mueller. That's another thing. What did he get for his active cooperation? Over 1 million documents they handed from the White House. Cohen himself handed thousands of documents. Everything Mueller asked for, he gave him. Everything the FBI asked for, he gave him. He even allowed himself to be deposed under oath several times. Were you involved in Russia collusion? No. Did you see anybody involved in Russia collusion? No. So then you have to go and kick his door down and grab and seize absolutely everything as part of a massive fishing expedition to say we're going to get him on damn it, we're going to get him on something. And once we get the lawyer on something, then we're going to squeeze him and squeeze him and squeeze him until this lawyer turns on his own client. God is my witness. They have never done this to the mob. Take your pick. Al Capone, Sam Giancana, whatever, any notorious mobster, Whitey Bulger, whatever. I don't care. Pick your notorious mobster. Okay, a Gotti up in New York. They never raided the offices of their lawyers. They never seized their documents. their privileged communications. They don't even do this to high-class mafiosis. And they do it to the president? And you've got CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times. I mean, they're giddy. They're almost drunk with happiness, applauding this every step of the way. So, there's at least one sane liberal left in this country. Listen now to civil libertarian, longtime Harvard liberal, Professor Alan Dershowitz, okay? No friend of Trump, no conservative, no right-winger, openly say they're shredding the Constitution. This strikes at the very heart of the lawyer-client privilege and relationship. This is a very sad day in America. Roll it, Brittany.
Russia collusion has now become Stormy Daniels' payment by his own lawyer?
Well, I think actually this does show us something significant about the investigation. I do think a decision has been made from the very top that the Mueller investigation is going to stick to Russia collusion, the campaign, obstruction of justice, and anything else relating to Trump's business dealings, any alleged relationships or payments to women, will be given over to the Southern District of New York. Now they'll work together. And this may be an attempt to squeeze Cohen. He's the lawyer. He's the guy who knows all the facts about Donald Trump, and to get him to turn against his client. Look, this is a very dangerous day today for lawyer-client relations. I deal with clients all the time. I tell them on my word of honor that what you tell me is sacrosanct. And now they say, just based on probable cause, even though this was cooperation with Cohen, they can burst into the office, grab all the computers, and then give it to another FBI agent and say, you're the firewall. We want you now to read all these confidential communications. Tell us which ones we can get and which ones we can't get. You know, if this were the shoe on the other foot, if this were Hillary Clinton being investigated and they went into her lawyer's office, the ACLU would be on every television station in America jumping up and down. The deafening silence of the ACLU and civil libertarians about the intrusion into the lawyer-client confidentiality is really appalling.
It's stunning. It's breathtaking. It's unprecedented. And by the way, Dershowitz on this is 1,000% correct. Flip it. Just flip it. Imagine a special counsel and the FBI together, collude, and they raid Hillary's personal lawyer. Take away the computers, the emails, the documents, the tax records, the communications between them going back decades. They just clean it out. They suck it dry like a vacuum cleaner. The liberals, the left, the ACLU in this country would be going, oh my God, they'd be going berserk. They'd be calling for a freaking holy war. I'm not kidding. Oh, they'd be out on the streets. Oh my God, would they be out on the streets? Instead, they're applauding this every step of the way. Why? Because, my friends, there is no way to sugarcoat this. They will not accept the results of the election in 2016. When they saw Michigan and Wisconsin fall to Donald Trump, and that put him over the top in the Electoral College, what you saw in this country was a very American coup. It's not a Latin American coup. It's not an African coup. It's not an Eastern European coup. It was an American coup, where they looked at each other like an old Roman emperor, thumbs down, niet. And they looked at each other and they said, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to have the deep state go after him. We're going to concoct this hoax of Russia collusion. And then we're going to use the legal system. We're going to lawyer Trump to death. That's how we do it in America. We use the legal system as a weapon to destroy anybody we want. And that's exactly what they said. We're going to drive this thing to a special counsel, and then that special counsel is going to drive the president out of the office. Without one bullet being fired, we are going to break this president, bring him down, and reverse the will of the American people. And now they are one door away from doing it. They've now gone right through his lawyer's offices and home. They've got all of their files, and now they are literally knocking on Trump's door. If I'm the president, either you accept the coup and you leave, which I think he should never do, or you fight back. And the way to fight back, very simple. I would arrange a meeting with Robert Mueller. I would. If I'm the president, I would say, yes, the president has agreed to sit down with the special counsel for a face-to-face meeting, just him and Robert Mueller. They sit down. Mueller's going to think this is the moment of his life. This is now going to immortalize him. Hollywood's going to make a movie about him. And as they stare eyeball to eyeball, the president looks at him in the face and says, Bob, I'm firing your ass. You're fired. Get the blank out of here. Stand up and walk right on out. And then give Sessions his walking papers, give Rosenstein his walking papers, and then tell Michael Flynn, Paul Manafort, and his lawyer, Michael Cohen, anything you've done, you're pardoned. Period. Full stop. To the deep state, you lose, I win. 125 here on the great WRKO. Okay, I've got some interesting poll results for all of you. The Kelly Financial Poll question du jour, as the French would say, of the day. Should President Trump fire Robert Mueller? A, yes. B, no. You can vote on my Twitter page at the Kuhner Report, Kuhner, or you can go to WRKO.com/Kuhner, Kuhner. Brittany, I know they've been voting today, very heavy, a lot of people voting. What are the results thus far?
79% yes, 21% no.
Interesting. I'd like to hear from people who think he shouldn't fire Mueller. I mean, I want to hear from everybody, but why does I'm just curious why 1/5 of this audience thinks he shouldn't fire Mueller. I want to hear from all of you, but especially the dissenting minority. They're just worried about impeachment, right?
That's what I think. I don't think you should fire Mueller.
I didn't know that. So you're against them firing Mueller?
Yeah, I think that it has to do with the impeachment. It'll open the doors to that. I think he should fire Jeff Sessions rather than Mueller. I think he needs an attorney general that's going to go head-to-head against Mueller. And
basically control Mueller and command the investigation.
If he had a strong attorney general, I don't think that this would be going on. The issue is that Jeff Sessions recused himself. So that's where all this is coming from.
Brittany, that's a really good argument. Mike and Brittany, I'm impressed. Mike in Millbury, you're up next. Go ahead, Mike.
How you doing? Yeah, do not fire Mueller for the same reasons. He fired Comey. He got the special counsel. If he fires Mueller, he's getting impeached. Yesterday, though, Jeff, was good news, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If Mueller had a collusion obstruction case against Trump, he never makes this move. He made this move, and I'll tell you why. Those FBI agents who haven't been fired, Strzok, Page, the whole bunch of them, you want to know why? Because they're cooperating. And when that IG report drops, and you find out that those 5 agents are cooperating, all hell breaks loose. And Trump, that's why Trump wasn't worried yesterday. You didn't see him flying off the handle, raging. Not at all. And they've also taken Stormy and Cohen off the table. The special counsel can't use that. They have now given that to Rudy Giuliani's former law partner and a Trump appointee. Mueller's got to stick to collusion or obstruction. And the only way he gets that if Trump starts pardoning and firing people. Otherwise, he has nothing. He can't do a Ken Starr and come up with blue dresses. That's off the table. He can't even look at that information. He's prevented from even looking at it. This was a great day. This was 3D chess at his finest. Mueller has no collusion. He has no obstruction. Stormy is off the table for him. Public opinion is on Trump's side. The base is energized. Go out and make TV commercials and ads with Donald Trump saying, indict me or clear my name. Enough is enough. He doesn't have a case. Trump and the Republicans need to get on that. They need to demand, we want your report or we want the man's name cleared. This is it.
Mike, brilliant, by the way. Absolutely, really well argued. Mike, I want to ask you this. Why do you think then, if this is ultimately a bad move for Mueller, why did he do it? Do you think he overplayed his hand? Do you think he's just overzealous?
He's trying to goad Trump into firing people or pardoning him before this whole thing with the FBI comes down. Strzok, Page, who is it, Priestap, and Baker, all the people that are still there, they're there for a reason. They're cooperating. Once you fire those people, they get lawyered up. They've flipped. I guarantee you they have flipped on McCabe and they've flipped on Comey, and that stuff's coming out within a couple of weeks. So Robert Mueller decided, let me goad Trump, let me set a trap, let me goad him into doing something stupid like he did when he fired Comey. And
so in other words, do something so outrageous, right, so unique, so exceptional, like go after his lawyer and, grab all those communications and
Bingo.
the emails and hoping that Trump is just going to, like a wild man, just start massacring everybody. And that will set the stage for Mueller. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or the next thing, he'll go after Ivanka and Kushner. Then you'll know he's really desperate, that the stuff's hitting the fan soon. I'm telling you, this is all tied into that FBI IG report that's been going on for 7 months. They got a grand jury with this John Huber. They got a grand jury in place. They got indictments. This stuff's going to come down in 2 weeks or so.
Mike, I really hope you're right. Mike, honestly, from your lips to God's ears, great call. Really good call. I don't know if I agree with you, but that's a really good argument. 617, what I tell you, huh? Best audience in the business. 617-266-6868. Okay, my friends, some members of the Trump administration are canceling travel plans. This is not good. To help in the response to the Syria attacks, I sense a war coming, or at least a bombing campaign. Evan Heidenrich is in the WRKO newsroom. He has all of those details. What are they, Evan?
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
137 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, as the raid took place and Michael Cohen's records were seized in his home, in his office, at his hotel room in Manhattan, all of his communications, privileged communications between himself and his client, going back decades, President Trump, the left was already dancing on President Trump's political grave. And leading the charge, of course, was CNN and MS Left BC, now saying they're going to squeeze Cohen, and Cohen is going to turn on Trump. Listen now to Stormy Daniels' lawyer, that bottom feeder, Michael Avenatti, predicting that Cohen will fold like a, quote, cheap deck of cards. Roll it, Brittany.
Well, I mean, part of me does, just because of the seriousness of this matter. You know, this guy, I think, has been put in a position where he's going to be expected to be the fall guy, the scapegoat. I don't think he's going to hold up. In my experience, any guy that has to constantly tell you how tough he is really isn't that tough. And this is a guy that has consistently made it a point to refer to himself as Ray Donovan and the ultimate fixer and the tough guy. And I think when push comes to shove, he's going to fold like a cheap deck of cards, Ari. I really do. But, you know.
And they were yucking it up. So they're hoping that Cohen, who knows where some of the bodies are buried, will flip on his client. And I'm not talking about Russia, about anything, and then spill the beans to Mueller and the FBI, and they can then charge the president and eventually impeach him and drive him from office. They've now made their move. They want Trump out. It's clear as day. What should Trump do in response? 617-266-6868. Arthur in Chestnut Hill, you're up next. Go ahead, Arthur.
All right, thanks, Jeff. First of all, the U.S. Attorney in New York recused himself. He wasn't part of this. It was, if you read up on it, you'll find that the report is he had to recuse himself because of his ties to Trump and Rudy Giuliani. So this was done by a federal judge, which I'd like to know what federal judge, but it wouldn't be hard to find a liberal one in New York. That's number one. One thing I've learned in life, Jeff, is that when things are not right, and you are and you can see down the road that you're going to be a victim of unscrupulous people, you try to nip it in the bud, especially when you have the power to do so. Now, when Trump saw the team, of Mueller and Weissman, is it that guy?
Yes, Andrew Weissman. Yes,
he even has a license to practice law is beyond me. And Mueller, with what he's done with that anthrax investigation, that he cost the government over $100 million going after the wrong guy, and the Boston fiasco, having forced a settlement of over $100 million to the families, knowing that those 4 people were innocent and 2 died in jail. He needs to go on a public relations campaign and expose these people who are after him. Now he's just generalizing the specific facts. And Reagan used to go on TV all the time, and Trump needs to do that and address the nation for what's going on here, because what's going on after him can go. If they can do it to the president of the United States for no reason, then what kind of a society are we living in? And furthermore, when he took office, what we had in this country, Jeff, was a rogue, politicized IRS, DOJ, and FBI, and we still have that, I can see him firing Rosenstein, because Rosenstein has committed crimes that he should be prosecuted just like McCabe. He should have been thrown out of office when a lot of these things came to light a while ago, Jeff. The worst that could happen when you fire a special prosecutor is you get another one, But it would have been a different one, possibly. Kenneth Starr replaced a special prosecutor, and Nixon, even though it was the wrong thing to do, he did it. But you know what? That's his right to do that, And no matter what he does, whatever Trump does, Jeff, it doesn't make any difference. He could discover a cure for cancer. The left and the media, the 7 the bastard, the rogue media outlets they're gonna crucify him anyway. It's like when somebody said, you know what, I just hit you for doing nothing. Well, if I got hit for doing nothing, I had to go out and earn it,
I'm with you. Arthur, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Look, that's why I respectfully I thought Mike made a brilliant point. I think Brittany makes a brilliant point. I'm not saying it's not a very cogent, intelligent argument. I just read the evidence a little bit differently. That's all. And what I see is this. I see now an impeachment train coming. And I think now we're beyond evidence. We live in a post-fact world. They wanted to get him the day he was elected. And it's like moving pieces on a chessboard. They're looking now to encircle him and then eventually destroy him. And so now they're looking for any pretext to bring him down. And so to me, you act when you have the high moral ground. And you act while you still can act. Because I'll bet you dollars to donuts, after November, if the Dems sweep back into power, Trump is getting impeached. He's getting impeached. So if I were him, you want to head the train off at the pass. I look at Rosenstein, complete conflict of interest. He's a criminal. He needs to go. Frankly, he needs to be in jail. But at a minimum, fired. To me, what Sessions did to him was such a craven, cowardly act, I would fire his ass so fast his head would spin. And then I would look at Robert Mueller and say, look, you're going after a porn star? My lawyer? Over a payment to Stormy Daniels? You were appointed to investigate Russia collusion. If you're now getting involved with porn stars and payments to porn stars, you've got nothing. You're wasting everybody's time, and it's a political witch hunt to paralyze and then destroy my presidency. You're out. Out. And then I would pardon everybody. So you want to set up a new special counsel? Go ahead. But my lawyer, you're not going to be able to touch him. Manafort, you're not going to be able to touch him. Michael Flynn, you're not going to be able to touch him. Now, I know the outroar is going to be deafening, but they're going to get you now or they're going to get you later. go now. And I don't know why he doesn't do this. I've been urging him to do this again and again. Go on national television, address the nation, and tell them point blank, this is a political coup. They've got the FBI raiding my lawyer's offices while Hillary Clinton committed crime after crime after crime. And they rigged the investigation into her, and my Justice Department won't investigate her, but they want to investigate my freaking lawyer. Over what? A payment to a porn star 12 years ago that I had allegedly had sex with once? Are you kidding me? So I've got North Korea, I've got Syria, I've got ISIS, I've got a war on the southern border, I've got healthcare costs exploding, I've got a $21 trillion national debt. The middle class is dying in this country. And these guys are going on about a payment to a porn star that says I had sex with her once 12 years ago. Now, I ask the American people, does this really need to go on? Because I'm making a decision right now. I'm pulling the plug on everybody. Period. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, fired. 1, 2, 3, you're pardoned. Bye-bye. What are they going to do? Impeach? Okay, go ahead, impeach. I don't know what to tell you. You're going to impeach me anyway, so do it now. Do it now before the midterm elections. Because then, I'm telling you, his base is going to come out like you've never seen. So, to me, when you're going to fight a battle, fight it early. Don't fight it late. And fight it while you have the highest possible ground. And after that raid, I mean, if I'm the president, here's what I say. They just violated attorney-client privilege. This is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. This is a complete attack on our Constitution, on our democracy, on our country. I'm not going to stand back and allow this to happen. No way. Let's have, you want a referendum? The midterms will be a referendum, period. You got something, indict me. You don't, get lost. Pat in Londonderry, you're up next. Go ahead, Pat.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
You know what? I disagree. He should. What Trump really needs to do, which impacts both Democrats and Republicans, is he needs to release the list of names of people in Congress who use taxpayers' money to pay off their own sexual or predatory accusations, because that is fiscal fraud. That is something that he should release the list, and then after that marinates in the public, he should fire Mueller, Sessions, and all the holdovers. But I don't understand. He's not using the tools that he should be using. He's not dealing smart. People don't care if he slept with Stormy Daniels. He can sleep with whoever he wants. All these politicians do it. But he didn't use taxpayers' money to pay them off.
Brilliant. Pat, absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, he could flip it. I mean, but, Pat, I'll tell you what. Can I be honest with you? You want to know what many of us are saying in private? What I'm saying in private, a couple of us in the talk show business who are big supporters of the president, we call each other, we talk. He's getting horrible legal advice.
Oh, sure.
And Pat, I'm telling you, the advice that he's been getting from some of his top aides and advisors since the beginning of his presidency has been so bad. We ask each other when we talk, can they be that stupid? Or are they trying to undermine this president? Because the advice he's getting is horrible. I'm telling you, it's a disaster. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. So he's surrounded by people who are giving him awful advice, terrible advice, and frankly, people who don't want him to succeed. They're trying to sabotage him at every turn. So
he should be reading Twitter, because that's the American people.
Well, look, Pat, I'm going to be very candid with you, okay? I'm not a big fan of Bannon. I don't like leakers. I don't like people who try to augment their profile. I don't. But I got to tell you, for all of Bannon's flaws, he served a very useful purpose. I said it then when they got rid of him, and I said it before, I said it then, and I've said it since. He was the pipeline to his base. he would always go back in his ear and say, you got to listen to the people who brought you to the dance. You got to dance with the one who brung you. Forget these insiders here in Washington. Forget these people who are always whispering in your ear what you can't do, what you shouldn't do, what's not important. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Follow your instincts. On Syria, I think he's being dragooned into a war. I'll try to get to that in the next hour. I wouldn't be surprised if they start bombing either today or tomorrow. His instincts were to pull out. The generals are telling him, go all in. On his legal front, I think he's been getting horrible advice. Horrible advice. And look, the establishment doesn't want him to succeed. I mean, it's as plain as the sky is blue. And so my advice has always been to the president, follow your gut, follow your instincts. The American people are behind you. You want to fight? We're ready for a fight. So give them a fight. Peter in West Roxbury, you're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. You basically hit on all the points, and the callers are fantastic, too. I just want to add, you keep talking about going after and impeach him. I think they're going to arrest him right in the White House. I mean, it's become, when you look at the FBI, which used to have such an honorable reputation, and they're now like, they should be cleaning their own house, let alone going after the president like they are.
Peter, are you being sarcastic or are you being like semi-serious?
No,
you think they really want to arrest him and like just humiliate him, slap the cuffs on him in the White House?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're heading in a direction in this country that it's like scary. It's frightening to see democracy and the Constitution put in jeopardy, literally. When you cannot trust the FBI, when they're showing how biased they are, it's frightening.
Peter, I wish you were wrong, but I don't think you are. I think you're right, and I think you're now seeing the FBI, the Department of Justice, show themselves now to be completely part of the deep state, and it's become now so politicized that they're basically saying we're going to decide who's president of the United States. And this is now, to me, the fundamental question of the Trump presidency. Who governs America? We, the people, through our elected representatives, or a permanent class, a permanent elite entrenched in Washington? This is now, to me, the fundamental struggle. And unless Trump starts turning things around, it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly fast. Steve on the Cape, in Cape Cod. Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Thank you for everything you do. You've had some great callers on today.
Thank you, Steve.
But I have to take issue with a couple things.
Yes.
This is not about what President Trump can do or should do. This is about what we, the people, can do. And let's take a page right out of the Democratic playbook. We need, as a country, to first organize and become energized. And it's not with the Republican Party. It's all people who believe in President Trump. Second of all, we need to change the narrative and make it the narrative that we want it to be, not what the opposition wants it to be. And then thirdly, we need, and it should be done starting with your show today, we need to organize a 3 to 5 million people march on Washington. Let's shut Washington down. Let's have the largest march that has ever existed in Washington to show support for the president, because if he has that, everything's going to stop. It's come to a standstill.
Steve, do you think the people will come out?
I would stop everything I have to do to go to Washington, and it means I was at the Women's March with I'm with the media. I'm with the correct media, the real media, not the fake media. And I was at the Women's March taking photographs and recording I saw millions of people there. If they can do it, why can't we?
Steve, I agree with you. Well, look, I think you're going to start seeing over the next couple of weeks. Look, we're basically now on the verge of a constitutional crisis. So we're going to see what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. But look, Brittany's already whispering in my ear, if we need to mobilize, I will mobilize. If we need to have a march, either here in Boston or preferably in Washington, D.C., I promise I will be one of the people spearheading this march. And I'm going to talk to my other people, my friends in talk radio, and hopefully we can all work together and show the elites and show the swamp that we, the people, are not going to take this coup lying down. They have declared war on us. It's time we said enough is enough. More with your calls next.
The voice of Boston is you. On 680 WRKO Boston, an iHeart radio station. It's 2 o'clock.